Today, what we're doing is this is going to be another review. Okay, so this is stuff that you should have learned in 8th grade, probably maybe even 7th grade, and something on. So we're going to make sure we know how to do it, and then like I said, then we're going to move on the next day. It'll be a little bit more difficult. All right. So this is a relation. First, what we're talking about is we're going to label our graph, all right? Just to make sure we remember those vocabulary words and what they look like. So number 1 says my x-axis. Here's your x-axis, right? Goes left to right. And I'm going to label the line that's touching it x-axis. So if I'm writing, you should be writing. Levi.
Oh, sorry.
Number 2 says my y-axis, up and down. So I'm going to label this y-axis. What's the origin?
It's the middle.
The middle, good.
0, 0.
Good. Okay, so then I'm going to put 0, 0 under it so I can remember that that's the origin. And then 4 is my quadrants. Okay, it gives you the boxes for the quadrants, but it's kind of hard to read those boxes. So I'm actually going to write on the outside of the boxes. This is quadrant 1. And remember, you have to write your quadrants as what? What is that called?
Roman
numerals. Good. This is quadrant 2.
Are you okay to use a written?
Yeah, if you want to. Totally. Okay, that's quadrant 2, 3.
What do we have to use Roman numerals for this?
Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles. I love my ramen noodles.
No, I don't know. Some mathematician one day said you have to, so then I just follow the rules.
It's like, boom. Roman
And then
noodles.
IV stands for 4. Okay. Questions? And when you write these, if you can't remember where to start, if you picture yourself writing the letter C, you start here, and you are writing the letter C, that kind of follows along with how you label them. Okay? Any questions about these vocab words? These are things that you should know from previous math years. All right, example 1 says, plot the following points and tell what quadrant or axis the point is located. So we're going to just review how to plot a point. Now remember, a point is x, comma, y. X comes first in the alphabet, x comes first in your ordered pair. Okay? When I plot, or if I have anything to do with a graph, the first thing I always do is I label my axis. There's x, there's y. And that's what you guys should do every time. Label those axes. Okay? Now, like I said, x comes first, then y. So if I'm going to plot M, point M, 2 is going to be my x, -1 is going to be my y. Alright? And I'm going to start with the x. Always start with the x. And I'm going to go to 2, because it's the x, the x-axis, start in the middle, and I'm going to go +2. And then my y is negative. So do you think I'm going to go up or down? Down, because it's negative. And I'm going to plot that in.
That's right there.
Right there. What quadrant is this in?
4.
4. Can I write the number 4?
Yes.
No.
Oh no. Even
Roman
in
numeral.
the example things, I think only for just the label that on.
Anytime you're talking about the quadrants, it has to be Roman numerals.
Our
Okay.
math teachers made this fun last year. We got to make like whatever we wanted, and like, at least it had to at least have like 5 quadrants, like 5 points. It was so fun.
Okay. Maybe you'll have to explain that to me later. Okay. Okay. N. Plot N. So then I've got x, y. Start with your x. All right. And I'm going to go -3 on the x. And so I'm going to go backwards. 1, 2, 3. And then my y is -3, so I got to go down. 1, 2, 3. Put my dot. Label that N. And N is in what quadrant? 3. The third. So 3 lines. Okay, what's different about R?
It has a point.
It's got a half. Okay, so it's going to be between two lines. All right? I'm going to label my X and my Y. So my X is 0. Am I going to move? No. And then Y is positive 3.5. So I'm going to go up 3 and then halfway to the next one. So it's in between two lines, and that's R.
What quadrant would we put that as?
I don't know. What quadrant is this in?
Origin.
Can that happen?
Origin.
Is it in the middle?
No.
No. This is the origin. Okay, it's not in the origin. You're right. It's on the y-axis. Good job, Meadow.
So smart, Meadow. Good job.
Okay. All right, T. My X, my Y. So I'm going to start with positive 5 on the X in the middle. Positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my Y is negative 2, so I'm going to go down 2. And that is T. And what quadrant is T in? 4. Very good. All right. Next is V. X, Y. My X is negative 3, so I'm going to go backwards. 1, 2, 3. My Y is 0, so am I going to move?
No.
Nope.
So it's going to be on the x-axis.
And this is V, and it is good on the x-axis. Okay, W is a fraction. Is that scary?
It's not.
I hope fractions don't scare you. Good. So x, y. So it's a negative 1/2. So 0.5. That's another way you could say it. Yes. So I'm only going to go halfway backwards in between the two lines. And then my y is a positive 1, so I got to go up 1. And there's my dot, and this is W. And what quadrant is W in? 2. Second. Okay, X, XY. My X is 0, so it's going to stay in the middle. Then my Y is negative 2, so I'm going to go down 2.
It's on the y-axis.
That's X, and you're right, it's on the Y-axis. Good. And then L, last but not least.
Yeah, that's my first letter of my name.
You're right. XY. So I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to go positive 5 on the X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Positive 7 on the Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Label that L for Levi. And this is in quadrant 1. There we go. All right, any questions about plotting? Okay, do we kind of remember how to do that? All right, on the bottom. The bottom says a relation is a set of, do y'all remember what relation means?
Together.
It's a set of what?
Twos.
Huh?
Twos.
Choose?
Same numbers.
Of coordinates.
Good. It's a set of ordered
Coordinates.
pairs.
Or pairs. Oh.
Oh, that's a mosquito. Okay. It was flying right under the document, camera. Okay. A relation is a set of ordered pairs. So more than one ordered pairs. A set of something is more than one, right? Okay, so it's more than one ordered pairs. A relation can be expressed in 4 different ways. If you see relations, you know it is. You could just be written out as ordered pairs. It could be in a graph. It could be a table.
It could be a coordinates.
And there's one new one that we're going to talk about today, which is mapping.
Mapping.
Mapping?
Mapping.
I think you may have talked about it, Nathan. Okay, like I said, today's kind of a review day. Make sure we know what we're doing before we move on. Okay, flip it over.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Flip it over. Okay, looking at this problem. What information does it give us?
Math.
It gives us what?
Math.
Good. It gives us the coordinates on a graph, right? So on the problem we just looked at, it gave us the ordered pairs. This one gives us the coordinates. All right, so the directions. The directions say, represent the relation. What's a relation? Good. So, or it could be on a graph. Okay, so this is technically a relation because it's a set of ordered pairs. It's a set of dots. Okay, same thing. So represent the relation shown in the coordinate plane as a set of ordered pairs, a table, and mapping. All right, so A wants them as a set of ordered pairs. So I got to go through this, and I got to write the ordered pairs out. All right? So I'm going to go dot by dot. I'm going to go in the order of left to right, okay, just so I can be organized. Because I'm talking about a graph, first, label your axis, x, y. And remember how we write an ordered pair is x comma y. So my x number goes first, and then my y number. All right, I'm going to start with this dot right here. And I'm going to count my x's. This is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5, comma, and then it's up 1, so that would be a positive 1. Make sure you're writing with me. That was this dot. Then I'm going to move this to this dot right here. On the x, this is negative 1, 2, 3. And then it goes down 2, so that would be negative 2 for the y. We'll talk about it. Okay, now this dot. This is my x is negative 2. And then my y is down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a negative 5 because it was down. Then I've got my dot in the middle, which is the what?
0, 0.
0, 0, which is called what?
Origin.
Origin. Good. 0, 0. Then I've got this dot, which my x is 2, and my y is also 2. And I've got this one, the tall one. My x is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the y is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So positive 6. And then my last dot over here. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2. So negative 2. Got it? Okay, make sure you got all of those written. So we wrote them out in A as a set of ordered pairs. Now B wants it as a table. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all my x's on one side, all my y's on the other side. But when you write it in a table, negative 5 and 1 are the same ordered pair, so they have to be written right next to each other in the table. Now you're going to have to write kind of small, and I'm sorry about that because you'll run out of space if you write big. Okay, so there's my first ordered pair. I've written it down. Then negative 3 and negative 2 go next to each other. Make sure you're writing with me. Negative 2, negative 5, 0, 0, which is the origin. Then I've got 2, 2, 4, 6, 5, negative 2. Okay, all right, that's my table. Now, sometimes you'll only see a table. What's a table represent? It represents ordered pairs or dots on a graph. Okay, so if you can make that connection that these are all the same thing, that's really good. Okay, because later on in math, you're going to be given a table, and you'll have to know that a table is really just the same thing as dots on a graph. Okay? All right, C says mapping. So this is the new thing. Well, not new, but newer. Okay? You've got two circles here. The one thing about a mapping that's different than a table, there's two things different. First, you can't repeat numbers. Okay, in your X column, and then you can't repeat numbers in your Y column. All right, that's the first thing. Second thing is they have to be written least to greatest. Okay, so if I look at my X's, all right, I have to put the X's in my X mapping on C least to greatest. Well, because we moved from left to right when we got our ordered pairs, these are actually already ordered for us. Okay, so I'm just going to copy them. Do I have any repeat numbers in the X?
No.
No. I've got a -2 and a 2, but are those the same number?
No.
No. So I'm just going to rewrite them. -5, -3, -2. Remember, least to greatest. 0, 2, 4, 5. So make sure you got those. Make sure you're writing with me, Levi. Come on, bud. Okay? Now, Y's. Look at the Y's. Do I have any repeating numbers?
Yes.
Yeah. What do I have?
-2.
-2 repeats. So how many times are we going to write -2? One time. Good. And what order do they have to be in?
Least to greatest.
Least to greatest. So looking at the Y's, what's my smallest Y? -5. So that's going to go on the top. Then my next smallest is -2, but I'm only going to write it one time. Then 0, 1, 2, 6. Okay, so we got all the numbers down. Now there's one more step. I have to know what X goes with which Y. All right, so if I look at my table, -5 goes with what? 1. So I need to draw an arrow from -5 to 1, so I know that those go together. And then -3x goes with which Y? -2, so I need to draw an arrow. -2 goes with -5, so I'm going to draw an arrow. 0 goes with 0, is the origin. 2, 2. 4 goes with 6. 5 goes back to -2. And there's your mapping. Okay? Questions? All right. A function is a type of relation where what?
There's only one X.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so a function is a relation where my x's, good, x's do not repeat. Okay, so look at this problem we just did. Is this a function?
Yes.
Do my x's repeat?
No.
No, my x's do not repeat. So yes, this is a function. Okay, what we just did. All right, my domain variables are your x, independent, and input. Got it.
This means
Okay, your y or your range are your y's. Your dependent. And your output.
They're all just basically opposite of each other.
Basically, yes. In a functional relationship, y depends on x. Okay. Now, your domain and range. All these words about domain and range, It is so important that you have these memorized, which one goes with which. So I've got this little thing up here to help you memorize. Everybody see this right here?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a saying that goes with it. The D and the R stands for, well, what is DR? If you saw DR written, what would you think? Doctor, right? DR means doctor. Doctor, XY, left his ID in his office. Okay? Dr. XY left his ID in his office. Dr. XY left his ID in his office. This is something that you have to memorize. Okay? Dr. XY left his ID in his office. It might be a bonus question on your next test. I don't know. Okay? Dr. XY left his ID in his office. Dr. XY left his ID in his office. So what I want you to do in these dark boxes on the bottom is you're just going to write the letters in the dark box. So Dr. XY left his ID in his office. I-O. All right, say it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dr. XY left his ID in his office. Can you remember that? If you can remember this, this will help you probably answer maybe 5, 6 questions on your STAR test, probably.
Yeah.
Okay? Say it again. Dr. XY left his ID in his office. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, now, let's fill in the words next to it. Domain.
Domain.
R stands for range. X and Y are just XY. I and D is what?
Independent.
Good. In 8th grade, you talked a lot about independent and dependent, right? You should have. I and O is
Input and output.
good. Input, out.
A.
Okay, so then you're probably thinking, why do you have it written like this? Okay. All of these words, those all mean the same thing. They all mean X. Domain means X. Independent means X. Input means X. All of this side means X. So what do you think about the other side?
Everything
All of these.
Y. Independent means Y. Output means Y.
All of these mean Y. Okay? And then you notice it says this is never going away, so remember it. Alright? Like I said, we're going to talk about this a lot. Okay? It might be a bonus question. When you get your STAR test, the first thing you're going to write on the front is Dr. XY left his ID in his office. Okay? So it can help you. Okay? Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to